Okay, that should be working fine. Yep, there you go. Thank you for the streak, maybe. How you doing? Okay, all working fine. So, right now, I'm regretting my choices in this world of Kafka. I'm trying to figure out how to make um, the flexible choice function without making lots and lots of breaking changes to my um, when daughter comes in, can I ban them? No, no, that wouldn't be very fair. It would be taken far too seriously. um, so last week, I decided to introduce um, GitHub, and I thought everything was going swimmingly. What if it's out of love? It'll still be taken far too seriously, and I think you know that. um, so the concept that I'm trying to get across now is one of so right now every one of these topics allows me to transfer data of a specific type, right? So I have a shape of the data and everything works fine, right? So Teams comes with an object that's the integration event for Teams. Permissions comes with the user permissions integration event, right? All these things have pretty much they do have a one-to-one. But with the GitHub stuff, I have a flow of events that really don't need separate topics. It will make it far messier to have individual topics to describe everything, because really what I'm looking for is, you know, um, I keep thinking it's going to format it properly and it's driving me crazy. So I have kind of like GitHub branch created, and then I have, branch updated, pull requests made, etc. They're not really integration events in my system, the more events I care about from outside the system. So I don't want to create multiple topics because it's overhead, and every time I start one of these things up, it uses resources, right? So um, so if I had one topic that was like GitHub events, now I can listen to that topic and process messages out of it. The problem is the shape of these things, right? So if this is GitHub events, right, the shape of these things can differ between each other. And what I've been working on is this concept of enveloping the event in a surrounding type, which adds things like, oh, it's this type underneath, etc., which gives me the ability to then say, okay, I've got one topic and I can pull it out. The problem is I started using Claude to help me with this, and Claude didn't have an idea of what I was trying to build. So it knew the problem. It kind of guided me down one path, and I've got the publisher now. So that now the publisher knows it can wrap a message in an envelope. So it puts them in headers. So it really just puts the inner type there. The design I'm going for, by the way, is so that I can do. It's a little harder to describe. But basically, I can create a publish event, and I can just write new envelope. Here's the new object inside of it, and everything will work. But then um, halfway through, Claude flipped its design. So I was building this code based upon, the back and forth with Claude, and then halfway through, Claude completely flipped its design, and the consumer side of this doesn't work. So when you go to consume something, um, I rely upon knowing which topic I'm going to subscribe to, and I get that by consumers add. I get the topic by using this try get topic from event type. And this comes from console, right? Um, so I don't have, and this is abstracted, but this Kafka configuration is going to come from from console, and that's going to give me this data. So I'm kind of stuck now because this topic, I can't use this method to get this topic. Hold on, add event receiver. Interesting. In neither of those do I actually. If topic is no, yeah. Um, Morning, daughter. How you doing? Again, the concept is if I pass in a topic, I can use it. Otherwise, I have to. I can go and look it up. But the problem is, I don't want to hard code the topic into the consumer. So Kafka is telling me that, or rather, Claude is telling me that if I just change the way I deal with the payload and I pull it from the topic anyway, it won't matter what I get because I can just JSON result it, and my receiver then becomes kind of a dispatcher, or a mediator of those events. But I wouldn't know what this is. So I think the best thing I can do is sample envelope, and then we need an envelope codec. Oh, this is not going to work as well as I want it to. Oh, it will do. Yeah. Envelope sample envelope codec, and this is so it knows how to convert um, the messaging. This is going to look something like this. Get payload type is going to be sample envelope. Oh, that needs to be a T payload. What T payload? Right. Actually, make it required. Now that can be that. Most of this is going to look very similar. The only thing that's going to change is this header stuff. So we take that. Those are helpful. Those are helpful methods. And then we don't need, here we just need like category. I just need to verify that it will go back and forth properly. So that's sample envelope. And then the wrap. I'm going through all that effort, but yeah, it's fine. Category. Category. That just sets the object property, so that's fine. So there's our envelope codec. Kenny, good morning or good afternoon. Sorry. How's things? So with that done now, we can create a publisher, and this can go to await publisher, publish async, grid.new grid, new sample event envelope, or sample envelope. That's sample event, new category equals test events, payload equals new sample event. Some values 1042. Okay. So again, the idea here is this will push to a topic. These are real topics. This will create real topics when I run the program. But we want to see what this looks like. So let's do that. Edit configurations. Don't know why I don't have any configurations, but that's fine. Reduce the sample. So this will start up, and this will push to. This won't push to Kafka because I've got no configuration. This is going to break because my Kafka is now Red Panda and is authenticated. So we do that by going over here, copying the configuration. Producer. Yes. That's fine. So let's try that again. I mean, ultimately, I'm looking to see, can I go to here and see those topics appear and nothing crash. It looks like nothing crashed. Looks like nothing worked either. That's disappointing. Sample product, sample event went in there though. So those are the two messages from before. That's the other. What do I call it? Oh, I didn't call it anything because I didn't put an actual derp, derp, derp. So this is going to be to. So this was showing that it will push to a named topic. This is showing that it will look it up in the configuration. I don't test the console one here. That's a different sample, but yeah. Envelope sample. Let's run that again. You crashed. Crashed at what? As in your computer crashed? didn't crash. I crashed. Gotcha. Gotcha. Envelope sample. Here we go. So this one should have headers. Category test events, payload. That's correct. But where's the headers? Oh, what? What? That shouldn't have been serialized that way. That should have come out as, man. Oh, I know why. That's interesting. That's very interesting. It serialized the object as it was. So the problem there is I didn't set a default publisher. Um, Dispatching consumer register. Kafka instance builder. Um, with um, T codec is I envelope codec. Then we do services that add transient. Actually, add singleton, I suppose. And this is going to be an I envelope codec, T codec. Why won't I let that happen? Oh, it has to be a class, of course. So then over here, then we'll do add publisher, add with envelope codec, sample envelope codec. See if that. So go return this. So we can keep building. So I know this is not this is tangential to Kaizu, but what this should support when I get it working properly is allowing me to use single topics for multiple events. Oh, he says right as it crashes. Hey, why the hell is that failing? That failed somewhere rotten there, didn't it? We'll go here. We'll assume it fails somewhere early on in here. This should set the envelope codec, so that when I build it, I should get okay, so this should be the first one, sample event. Yeah. Oh, it crashes early. Okay. So that crashed before I even got to my envelope version of it. So that is interesting. Hoping. Okay, so codec is null, or is not null, right? So we do have a codec. There's no unwrap for this because it's not generic, which is fine. And the headers is null. Okay, so that's fine. Body.get type. Please don't be object. No, it's the correct one. Okay. And then we publish internal. We build a message. There's our message. Right, that's fine. There's no headers. Okay, so we did get in here. That's very good. Just refresh the screen. Awesome. Okay, so F10, F11, F10. So we should get into here in theory. Yeah. So it's a generic type and it is a sample envelope. So we get the message, we get the payload, right? We set the headers. Or not, apparently. Cannot convert type string to system grid. Oh, that's what you get for copying and pasting, you dingleberry. Look, I don't need. I don't need that. I need to encode that. Let's try that again. That's the test data going wrong because the idiot who copied and pasted it didn't read the fact that it was using a grid. So now let's see what happens. Topics. There we go. There's our new one. And it still did it wrong. Oh no, there's a new one. Okay, so there we go. There's the payload. And now we have a header and it should be category. Okay, so then we have our category of test events. One second. There we go. Okay. So that's behaving as it should do now. That's giving us the payload is going in there, that all the envelope gets put into the headers. It gives us an object that is easily serialized. So now what I need to do is write a consumer for that event. Oh, we're gonna have to delete the other message though. We can't have this one cannot be in here. Otherwise this blows up. Can I delete a record? Oh no. We have to truncate this. Delete records. All partitions. 720. Ah, never mind. We can just produce it again, it's fine. Topics. Oh, example, okay. Let's do that. So I need that event to be there, but I didn't want the wrong shape of the event to be there. Otherwise, I would have ended up breaking because it wouldn't have deserialized properly. So I believe this acts as a global consumer, so that's why there's a lag to it appearing there. Yeah, there you go. So there's our headers. Okay, now receivers. So what the Claude thing is telling me is that I can sample envelope receiver, right? What they did. Add event receiver. Oh, because they create two receivers, one for each one, so that's fine. But now I need an event receiver. And this is the weird thing. So what Claude's telling me is I can do sample envelope of JSON. JSON element, right? Um, and then the weird thing is here that it's suggesting that I basically end up with a wow, it's talking about literally dynamically. That category would in the other version in the full version here. We go to this version of it would be kind of the event name. It'd be like the GitHub branch created, GitHub branch deleted, etc. Um, and again, all I'm trying to do here is avoid creating um, a single topic for every single event that could come through GitHub. If I can just wrap it up in one topic and then consume it as a need. Um, it will keep it cleaner. It gives me the option as well of using more eventing stuff in the Kafka pieces later on. Right now, pretty much everything is what I'm referring to as an integration event, which is just here's data. You know what to do with it. There's no intent. So if your system receives the event for the integration event for the first time, and you know you need to do something with it, you need to create it first, right? So you're registering it. That's the first time you've seen it. It doesn't necessarily carry with it the implicit um, concept of that was just created, right? So if I wanted to say, hey, a deliverable was created, I could still create an event stream of deliverable was created that came with the date it was, but the integration event would carry the data with it. And the use of that is, I don't necessarily care about the events right this second. Like they don't have bearing. When something was created doesn't really have a bearing on um, its data. So I care about getting those deliverables through parts of the system. So that's what the integration events represent. But they make sense to be single topics because they're kind of, they are here's data, not here's the intent of this data. So yeah, so we go that way. Um, so I mean, we just need to get there. I think Actually, don't need the async keyword there. Just say return task.completed task. So now we can add the receiver services.add transient sample envelope receiver. That's interesting. I guess registered that way, but now we can do configure.add event receiver sample envelope receiver, and this can go to, because I've got the memory of a goldfish, envelope that sample. And this should work. We should hit here. Consumer sample. No. Oh no, we've already done it. Okay, sweet. Must have tested this already. Violates the constraint of type T event, which says it has to be a class. I mean, to be fair, I'm not giving Claude the best chance with this because I won't let it go near the code. I won't let it touch the code. But it also it can see the code, so it knows what it's looking at. But it has directed me in conflicting versions multiple times already, which does tend to make me think that what I'm actually doing is probably not a path that many people follow. So constraint mismatched. It's just a plain class and doesn't implement that marker. There shouldn't be. You shouldn't have a marker anymore, though. That's the problem. That's the thing. Add event receiver shouldn't have I event at all. T consumer. There's no. What are you talking about? There is no I event. What? Oh, there we go. Okay, there is. Okay. I do have a generic there. Add event receiver. Oh. I think at this point it's time to get rid of that. See if it breaks anything else. Yeah, there you go. Default event. Where are you? Resolve timestamp. What was it? Default event. What else did I change there? Oh no. Oh, it's over here. That's fine. Okay. Let's see what that does now. I've removed the constraint. This is a bit strange on the publisher because I never make sure you can be I event, which is a bit. What I'd probably best do there is just make sure it occurred on exists on the object. Nope, still don't work. The I event constraint. Now I get, there you go. So what I was hoping to have today was GitHub events coming in, but that's clearly not going to happen. Uh, however, I don't like this. I don't like it at all. Um, however, like I said, this will give me a stronger design, I think, in the long term by giving me the ability to have, oh, this needs to be one topic with different event types going into it. Yeah, so the design will be more flexible. And this is the core library. This is my extensions library. So this is the reason I'm avoiding specificity here is so that's why the envelope is created just for the producer, or rather the stuff here is because I don't want to force the user onto this. However, this might go with the library as a default. Um, I get payload type though. That's part of the problem. Yeah, that's why. What this is telling me is the topic consumer now needs to change. Line 76. But I don't know that. That's what they do, right? Birds want a nest. Oh man. This is funny. So the the robot tells me that is perfectly fine. My code will support that. Again, it's looking at my code because it's giving me samples from my code, right? Hi Temtic, how are you doing? Um, why is fuck? I've not had nest down 3 times now. Wow. So it tells me, hey, use JSON element there, right? Now, when I post the error for the serialization, it's like, oh yeah, because you're not deserializing it properly. So the code it's suggesting I do is totally wrong because what it's suggesting I do is in topic consumer here, I start with I start with the constructor for one, but what I do is I put this in there, right, which would What would that do? Oh, you tell me a JSON element. Yeah. Have to see the world burn, redeem last. uh, what are you doing? Tombstone path stays the same. Like Stoney can't help himself but to claim last early on in the stream. I think Stoney's offended by my constant lurking and doesn't show up. Or lurks. Um, okay, I get what it's trying to do. What it's trying to do is make sure that the type that I have here is known earlier on. So I suppose we do it that way. It makes sense. Ugh. So CTOR the get um init uh uh I'll use that publicly, so anyway. What do I want to do here? What I'm trying to make sure I'm not doing is just blindly following it. And I'm trying to think about what changes it's asking me to change. What changes it's asking me to make, sorry. Um, so again, what it's suggesting here is, so we have requires wrap. That takes codec. Do this. Private envelope codec equals null. Oh, helps if we're not consuming. That's fine. Topic configuration, logger, topic, logger, topic, event receiver, logger. Okay, requires wrap, codec, event receiver. There's so many changes here. That's better. So now we have private read-only bool requires wrap and private read-only type payload type. So what this is asking me to do is say payload type equals codec dot get payload type, which is a method on the codec, right? So this is go and determine what the generic argument is. So in this case, it's going to say, oh, well, that's sample envelope of JSON element. So that the payload type is going to be JSON element, right? Get payload type of T event, type of T event, right? So that's giving us whether we're wrapped or not. Payload type not equal to type of T event. Right. If they match, then we don't require wrap. Okay, so that's that. So it requires wrap, and then our delete scenario doesn't change. That's fine. I don't think I have a delete scenario that is explicitly there. So then, if requires wrap, oh, we change the deserialize here to be, instead of that, we say that, and we say payload type. You know, for the fact that it read the code beforehand and said you don't need to make any changes, just do this, there's an awful lot of changes, right? If payload is null, else, and that becomes T event. That's a cast now. And then we can receive async. DI registration, make sure envelope codec is registered as a singleton in your app composition root. Otherwise, the optional CTOR param will result to null, and you'll fall back to the broken path. Quick sanity check. The dump result message headers on a received message before deserialization runs. You should see event identifier, event name, event version encoded, set by the publisher. So now if we do the consumer sample, this will probably blow up again, but it should get a little further. Oh, sorry, Taylor. Now the likelihood is it moved on. So it didn't serialize this one, but it moved the marker on. So the offset. So we go to consumer groups, we'll find sample consumer group, and we can reset. Yeah, see there's no lag. So we can wait for this to shut down, which it should do eventually. Why are you all up and running? Oh, they're all up and running because I haven't changed Kaizu yet. And again, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to, I got GitHub connected last week, right? So GitHub is now connected to my account. I now need to get the events coming into my application. So I'm creating a topic to consume all GitHub events rather than creating one topic per type of event. Otherwise, I'm going to end up creating a lot of topics. And if you go to a paid Kafka subscription, you pay for the topics and the number of topics and the number of partitions. So that would be kind of expensive. Yeah. So I don't want to be doing things that happen a lot events wise. I don't want to create per partition. I don't per one topic per account. No. This would be one topic for every event that happens in GitHub, regardless of account. I could partition it eventually if I change my partitioning abilities. I could partition it to be per tenant, so you actually could get a little bit more throughput per tenant. But for right now, it's partitioned on, yeah. The connector is the connector in Kaizu, yeah. So that's connected to my TBD developer account. But the events that are going to come in would be, yeah. So the idea here is I'm not getting, GitHub branch created, GitHub pull request made, GitHub branch deleted, etc. as separate topics. I don't want to make in the normal layout of Kaizu, the events so far are pretty much all integration events. They're not really things that have happened, they're just data in its current state. Here I'm trying to represent events that are occurring. So I need to have the event context, but I don't want to create a topic per event type. I want to create an event topic for all things GitHub, and then be able to pull them out and process them appropriately on the other side. So that's what I'm trying to build right this second, is this ability to do that. So, okay, let's see how far this gets now. If it fails, it will commit again. I'll have to restart again. It's fine. We want to hit that breakpoint ideally. Wow. It reminds me of event sourcing for some reason, probably because events map to a single spot. Yeah, I mean, if you had a topic for, so right now I have projects, right? No, let's go with one I've actually got data in. Tasks. Really? Have I really gone past a week before since I've last touched some of this stuff? um, Guess it has been a week. 7 days expiry on these things. By the way, let's say I have projects. Right now, an object in here, a row in here, a value in here, represents the current state of a project. If I get another event, it's just the updated state of that object, right? So it's not, I'm not using it to infer any behavior from. I don't know about whether it was an event of this got deleted, that got deleted, etc. I'm just saying, here's the current state. I'll leave that to a completely different piece, right? The calculation of what changed and why it changed, etc., is not the reserve of this. So if I was to do event sourcing, that might create a topic for projects, and in there I might capture the payload of, you know, project added, project value updated, project this updated, and capture the individual payloads as events, and then I could replay the stream of events. Right? I could use this one topic to replay that stream of events. I could do it. I don't want to do it. That's not the way I want to use Kafka. If I was going to do that, I might again switch back to a service bus where I can publish those individual events and process them appropriately. But it is an option. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a GitHub events topic, which will then receive all those GitHub events. And each one, if I need to create, a branch was created, what does that mean? Well, does it have a tag? Does it have in its reference the task reference? Yes, it does. Okay, now associate this branch to that thing. So yeah. Same symptom, but now from line 86. The new code path is reached. The type argument is still, which means payload type is resolving to type of T event instead of type of JSON element. Two likely clauses. The codec is null, most likely. The codec is not. Oh, the codec is null, isn't it? The codec is null because I didn't do this. Add Kafka with envelope codec, sample envelope codec. You you have to you have to remember to reset that thing. Um, let that error again. So yeah, um, the goal would very much to be to show, you know, when I bring up a task, show, open branches, PRs, etc., like that in here. Um, that's kind of what I'm aiming for. I was hoping I'd have it done by now, but the weekend didn't quite go as I intended it to, as they ever do. Come on, rebalance. So yeah, when you see a bunch of PRs in here, you know that the release is kind of stalled. And again, why I'm doing it from an event perspective is I want to be able to say, I want to be able to put logic in there, right? Oh, a PR has been merged. We should check to see if someone cares about this release. This release is now available. All the PRs have been merged, etc., and let people know with the context of um, this has happened in the system, rather than just you having to figure it out. Let's go back. Okay. Envelope sample. Reset. Apply. Okay. See if we get further. We want to hit the breakpoint. Oh, line 86 in topic consumer. Still failing there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove those two. Start running. Remove those two so that I don't have a receiver going. So we have the codec. What should happen is when I start the consumer, right, we should determine that so get payload type on the sample event envelope codec says, okay, is it a generic type? Yes, it is. Okay, get the generic type definition and get its first generic argument. So it should get the JSON element piece or JSON, whatever it's called, piece. And that's what gets returned. Otherwise, it'll return the entire message type. So it's not harmful. Actually means you could call that anyway, but that's the default. So it will do that. Oh, if no codec set, yes, okay. But at the very worst, it would return the same as this. So let's reset. Okay, so let's debug. We only have one consumer now, so we should be able to just step through this. Okay, so our codec's null. Well, that's why. I envelope codec. What's the point in setting it then? With envelope codec. I envelope codec, decodec. Nice redemption. But it worked on the other side. You get your own. Everyone gets one. Everyone gets it first. mainly because it mattered to Stony. So I just took it. I took it away by making everyone get a first. There's only one last, and 10 tickets are claimed last already. So I should have just ended the stream as soon as last was claimed, in theory. Take away everything he loves. Pretty much. I'm just a big spoil sport. Why? So the envelope codec is not getting passed into the consumer. So this is not working. Is the biggest problem here we have. Why is that? So we set it up with envelope codec, add dispatching consumer. This doesn't overwrite anything. This doesn't change anything. The idea is the envelope codec is there so that, I mean, if we're doing it, but that has no bearing because it's just setting up the actual codec. That's why. We've still got another challenge to face here, by the way. The fact that I need to figure out how I'm going to get the topic name because this is not. So the suggestion from the robot is that what I do is I just type name becomes just a string, and I default to type name, but I'll also take a value. So I'll look it up by this. So this becomes the key. Um, that's the robot's idea, which might be the path I take for that. Um, uh, that is a good point. Add dispatching consumer configuration builder. Am I doing add event receiver? No, it's all DI. We don't need that there. Wait a second. So the suggestion is that I am using invoke add event receiver. This gets the generics down there and then invokes that. So it ultimately calls this consumers that add new topic. That's why, because I'm constructing it. That's a problem. There's your problem. I don't have it. Oh dear, that's bad. Oh no, hold on. Service provider is in here. Oh, but I can't. I need a topic. How do you take your steak? Rarely. Medium well, normally. But I'm not. Well, mainly because I don't eat great steak. So I'm fine with medium, but I don't really like rare. I've eaten rare, like rare, and uh, yeah. But what do you do? Well, the British don't know how to cook beef. You grew up in the same time frame I did, and basically beef was cooked. Like the first time I came to America and I saw a roast beef, I was like, "Why is the roast beef pink?" Because I'm used to just grey-looking beef because it was just always cooked. Um, because of BSE, right? So it's pink, steak blue. Yeah, I'm not a rare steak kind of guy. I'm a, and also not allowed to eat red meat much anymore. So, Mojo, good morning. This is a design problem. Uh, this isn't. This is constructed on the. This is. Sorry, my brain's now busted. This is constructed here when I create a consumer. So this goes and gets me the builder, passes that configuration into it. But the problem is, and so I can do DI, and I'll do that there. I do service provider get required consumer. But I pass the Kafka configuration in and the topic it's going to consume because I create a new instance of it. And I pass the list into dispatching Kafka consumer, which loops through and starts them all up, right? So these are all different tasks that started. So I have the provider. But I don't have dependency injection here. I'll tell you what I can do. I know it's an optional parameter, so we'll do it this way. Dot get service I envelope codec. That's how we'll solve that. Because it can be null, so we don't want it to be a required service. That's how I will do it. I didn't reset that, did I? Okay, so codec is sent now. Okay. Payload type should be JSON element. Yep, there we go. Okay. We got to category. Nice. So we did get a payload. Oh, now that payload can be cast to the right type. I love how Kenny and Tempting are just dropping in and out of the stream at random points and just like 10 minutes apart, passing messages. Uh, so the problem here is this didn't actually get me an actual payload. It got me the object, but it didn't give me. So there's no actual payload there. Got the header out as a hello. Yep. Um, but payload. This is one of those times where I'm heading down a path with some code that I'm concerned that I will have changed so much code that I'll be committed to the design rather than stopping and thinking, oh, I can do this differently. But I'm hoping that when I see the end result, I'll know what I need to change. Because it just feels like I'm hacking in changes at this point, which is again exactly what AI would have done had I left it to its own devices here. So what I'm doing here now is setting up the envelope receiver. The envelope receiver is a type of sample envelope JSON element, right? And what it should contain is it should contain a JSON object that looks like that. Right? I'm trying to capture, here's what it looks like. The header, so it got me the category. So it gave me an envelope. It's just the internals of it were busted. So we're just trying to ask it again how it thinks this is going to work. Now, if I was to do a sample event or sample, sample event here, right? That would work. However, now I have to create receivers for every single type, which means I have different receivers for the same topic, and they'll all register and they'll all get sent the events and crash because they won't deserialize as that type. So the idea here is by doing this, we can create one receiver, even though we've got multiple producers producing messages into the same topic. We only need to create one receiver, and it will deal with the throughput. Okay. Headers populated, reflection-based property setting works. So either the deserialization step isn't producing a populated JSON element, or the payload property specifically isn't being set the same way as the others. Most likely cause the publisher isn't writing payload bytes to the message body. It is, but yeah. Yeah, yeah, it is. Body bytes, it is. So the first thing it says is you probably aren't writing the body, right? But we know we are writing the body because we've got it right here. So the next suggestion would be in the topic consumer, what we get is the payload back, right? And then if it requires wrap, then we try and wrap that data. So it's suggesting that that's the thing. Now, I think it's getting here. Which is weird because it should be, the payload should be JSON element and the requires wrap should be there. So I think it might be getting, let's see if it assumes the same thing. Let's have a look. Ad starts in 3 minutes. Of course, like I say, I'm kind of punting on the whole topic discussion at this point. On the whole, yeah. So that's a JSON element. So if we hit F10, payload is okay. So there is a payload there. Requires wrap. Oh, of course it's going to do that. So the headers we have there, and then we go into wrap. And wrap in this case is going to break, isn't it? Yes. That's exactly what's going wrong. So the envelope type is a sample envelope of JSON element, and now it's going to try and get the envelope type. Yeah. And then set the headers. It's not going to set the body of the payload. That's the missing part. Do I do that in here? Yeah, I set the payload. Okay. I kind of deleted that part of the code. That'll be why. Come on. Hey, Plux. How you doing? Lauren, how are you? Hello, how are you? Good timing. Come on. There we go. Okay. Earliest. Okay, so that's now actually. I'm so confident in this code that we'll put the breakpoint back there. I'll take my medium rare. I like AI lets it well done. Find something on me nonsense on free. Nice. um, project's gone a little slower than I wanted it to today. I've been working on trying to deal with some Kafka pieces of the application to be a little bit more flexible in the eventing side of things. So, bit of a struggle. Okay, here we go. Here's the event, and now we have an object. Okay, so now we have a payload that we can cast to another type. There we go. So that does work. Okay. And again, we could put this specific type on there and it would deserialize it and that would be fine. Um, this is going to be challenging. So now the next piece to challenge is this. So when we add the event receiver, rather when we go to here, if we pass in a value, we skip this piece of the code, right? What we could do is public bool try get topic by event category by event by name. That's the problem is the property is called event type, and I don't like using the word event type here because it's really the key. Um, let's do it that way. Out string key out string topic, and it's similar. It's a similar concept. We get the lookup, and then we return topics lookup key. But that gets types. We don't need a type. Key. Actually, we just need that. Oh no. Can't do it that way. Then we do return um, so we can do that. And then what we do is in consumer, topic consumer, not here. No, not there. Configuration. Where do we do that? Brain work. It was topic consumer, wasn't it? No, it was in add event receiver. When we add the event receiver here, else if topic is not null, no, doesn't matter. If topic is not null, it's not an else there. So if it's null, then yeah, if topic so that's going to read very strange. That does not read correctly. But the idea is that whatever we pass in there, it will default back down to an actual topic name. So we can do type name is envelope topics, and then the actual topic is envelope.sample, right? Name is, and the weird thing, the thing I don't like about this is that doesn't fit logically in there. This needs more structuring to change that to work properly. It needs to have a key or type name, right? Because the name is the topic name, which is appropriate, but now this type name is a name to reference this topic name so that I don't have to hard code it in my code. So this would be enveloped topics or enveloped topics, I suppose. So yeah, not a big fan, but we should still get here if things are working. Just thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in. Yeah, so we still get there. We still read from the topic. So now that does function. I still think that needs a bit more refinement. So again, what this will allow me to do is, let me go and draw. Drawing hub events. So we have branch created branch deleted, PR created, whatever it is. Or rather, it's a pull, I think, or whatever. Pull. What was it? Oh, it's a pull request. It is actually a pull request. But then there's pull request deleted, pull request, whatever. So what I'm going to try and do, or what I'm trying to do here, is I'm trying to create a multi-event to single topic, which right now I don't deal with, right? So this is one topic. On the other side, because of the way the system's currently set up, I don't have the ability to make these have different receivers. And actually, I wouldn't want to, because otherwise the system's just going to get really noisy, because every event I've got to add in the receiver for it. Whereas now, what I do is I change here to say, okay, now figure out what, based upon your category, what event are you actually processing, and then send the right command. So this becomes a distributor as such. It does mean it bottlenecks slightly, but I can scale the receiver as part of a group and have them process them differently. So this would be receiver or consumer, as it is in actual Kafka parlance. So my existing system didn't really support this very well because it's not the way I've used Kafka. So there is some challenges there. So that is what I'm aiming for. The challenge is now, how do we capture? Is it literally switch event dot category case? What was that event? So if we go to the topic, there's a break on me. We go to the event itself and go to the headers, then test events. If it's test events, then we do case one, etc. What is the intention of this one? So this again would be, event name would be branch created, branch updated, etc. These are the actual events. I could, and the way I probably would do it would be in Foundation. For GitHub, I would create the individual events. So the branch created, etc., would be events. And then instead of event name, I could store the full type name, which would allow me to deserialize it as that type, I suppose. Again, what I'm trying to do is avoid having to hard code topics. I'm trying to avoid having to create this receiver per element of this, because these would conflict, right? Because they'd all go in the same consumer group. So the one that's set to consume branch created would consume the one that's got branch updated, etc. And the shapes of the objects would then crash. So this way is a way of saying, oh, I'm going to create a receiver. It's going to receive messages from this topic, and it will worry about the dispatching. And there wasn't too many changes there to the core Kafka library, I suppose. So yeah. But unfortunately, it is that time again. Uh, yeah, okay. Get it. Okay, so um, okay, I have no one to really rate to today. Pops is in German. Um, game dev, game dev, game dev. Anyone was ever planning to stream development? Was it worth doing? A lot of people do game dev though. Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm just going to finish up then. So, um, if you've not been here before, if you are interested in what I was doing, I am working on Kaizu, which is a project management and planning application. What I'm working on right now is a specific implementation of the eventing system in the background that will allow me to add in GitHub events so I can start to really use this GitHub integration I was working on last week. And the idea being that you'll be able to go and see what is given any task, what's the current status of PRs or branches against that thing. So adding more rich detail to the application itself. So there will be more of that on Thursday. I'll be back on Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern. But in the meantime, I'm just going to call it there. There is no one that can really raid that I know of. So we're just going to end up there. And I will see you again soon. Take care all.